Fun with failure.
Welcome to the Neckbeard compilation. I've compiled the stories of Tabletop-beard. We've got the Complete Saga, made up of 3 stories, so I hope you enjoy. Here we go. I finally saw one. I met a Neckbeard in the wild, and looking back, I find the encounter both funny and cringy, so I thought I would share. I'm not a gamer girl, but my boyfriend is a gamer. Where we live, there's a really big store dedicated to tabletop games, comics, and manga. So, on a beautiful Saturday morning, I ventured to ye old comic book shop to buy my boyfriend the new edition of the super expensive new version of Tabletop game for his birthday. I found the game he wants with no trouble, and I carried around the store while I peek at the manga. I'm not a huge anime fan, but I do have certain ones I like, but nothing mainstream. Now, the manga is in the back near the gaming tables, so I'm back there minding my own business when I feel a presence watching me. I turn, and the most stereotypical neckbeard ever described in stories is less than a few feet away. Sadly, he didn't have a fedora, but he was wearing a black dirty t-shirt stained with orange dust. Either it's Cheetos or Doritos, I'm not sure. The shirt he was wearing, it was a couple of sizes too small, and he had black cargo pants on, and they were somehow too baggy. I could see his stomach hanging out. I felt like gagging. He's making sighing noises while he's looking at manga, while giving me a side glance, like he wants me to engage him in conversation or something. I glance around and I realize that even though the store is busy, there were only like 5 girls present in the whole building. 2 of the girls were employees behind the registers. One was at the Warhammer table, but she was a small planet herself. And the other was at the Pokemon table with her friends, with the parent nearby, and probably barely 14. I was the only one legal and worthy of his attentions female there. I moved to the other shelf only to have him follow me and finally say something. "That game isn't very good, you know." "Oh?" I asked, not looking toward him, keeping my eyes on the manga. "Yeah, I could show you some better ones if you like." He got into my space then he physically tried to take the game from my hands. I pulled away before his stained orange fingers touched me or the box. "No thank you. This is the one that my boyfriend wants for his birthday." I emphasized the word boyfriend. He blinked for a moment like deer in headlights before saying, "No, really, I know a better game, just give me that one." He reached for the game again. "Don't touch me!" I yelled. Usually I'm beta as heck, but this guy was really scaring me. "Jay, what have I said about bothering customers?" snapped the blue-haired girl that worked there. "I was just trying to be helpful," Jay said as he shuffled off back to his gaming table. I continued browsing a bit, but I was aware that Jay never took his eyes off of me. When I went back to check out, the blue-haired girl apologized to me. Apparently, Jay wanted that expensive game, but he didn't have the money for it, and he had been caught earlier by the owner that week, trying to dissuade other customers from buying it. He had one warning from that, and the other girl was already on the phone with the owner. Jay might end up getting banned for a week. Blue-haired girl doubted that he would be banned forever, because when Jay had money, he would blow it all at the store. I did eventually go back to the store, and I had more encounters with Jay. I'll post that later, thus to be continued. The second encounter of J the Tabletop-beard. Hello, lovely readers. After my first meeting with Jay, you would think I'd be avoiding the comic shop, but despite my first encounter, it was a really nice shop. After a few weeks later, I went back with my boyfriend to the comic store. He was meeting up with some guys to see how he fit with the new gaming group. I'll just call it D&D, even though it wasn't D&D. Anyway, as it was only going to be an hour, I decided to come along too. This store is cool because it has a nice quiet space, mostly a little area with chairs, a small table, and outlets. This is where the parents can hang out while their kids are having Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. I brought a book, but I ended up buying a manga, a comic, and 2 blind boxes. The blind box is basically a surprise toy. You don't know what you're gonna get. I settled down in a big chair to read the manga. Maybe 15 minutes later, someone else sat down. "You like random manga with monster girls?" I glance up and yep, it's Jay. For those who didn't catch the last story, he's a typical neckbeard. Black clothes that are too tight, unkempt, greasy looking hair, bathed in Axe body spray, you get the idea. I look back down on my manga. I bet you only read it because your boyfriend wants you to. I looked at him confused. What? What do you mean? Jay licked his lips and he leaned closer to me. A wave of Axe body spray seemed to strike me in the face. Manga like that? It must get you all hot and bothered and ready to beg for him. I had no reply to that. I think I sputtered out, "What?" After a few moments of silent confusion. Jay seemed to have a strange gleam in his eye, thinking he found the virgin jackpot maybe, but seemed to change tactics. Manga like that teaches women to be submissive. See, I'm a feminist, so I know that stuff is bad. You should read something more positive for women, like Naruto, or Bleach, or Maid-sama. I wasn't sure how something with the word maid in it could be positive for women, but I went along with it and I said, "Okay, maybe, but I'm busy reading right now." I look back at my book, and Jay goes silent for a few minutes. Then I hear the bag rustling. I ignore it until he says, "You like Tokidoki and Batman?" Yes, folks. Jay had picked up my bag of shopping and was currently looking through my 2 blind boxes. "Yes, I do. Now give me those back, please." And I held out my hands. Jay honestly looked like he wanted to open them very, very slowly. Then he gave them back to me. "Don't you want to open them now?" "I don't want to open them now. I plan to open them later at home," I answered, now tucking the blind boxes and comics into my bag. Jay went quiet again for a few minutes. "So where do you live?" I was done. This guy doesn't even know my name, but he just asked me where I live? I stood quickly. I grabbed my stuff and hurried right over to my boyfriend where he was gaming. I didn't say a word, but I sat as close to him as I could, without being in the way, for the rest of our time there. When we left, I told him that Jay made me feel nervous. My boyfriend laughed it off as me being a worrier and too anxious, but he didn't laugh after our next encounter. But we'll save that for next time. Hello, lovely readers. It's been about 2 months after the Where Do You Live encounter with Jay. Ye Old Comic Book Shop was having its birthday sidewalk sale. This is a big deal for the store, because it marks all the merchandise down to 10 to 50% off. They also have door prizes, fun contests for gift certificates, and some of those superhero trivia. Name that character, cosplay contest, and etc. Pokemon Go had only been released the previous month, so being a childhood fan of Pokemon and a bit of a seamstress, I made myself a Vampirion cosplay and a trainer cosplay for my boyfriend, now husband. My cosplay was a knee-length blue dress with a matching blue wig. I made the tail and I made the ear fins on the headband. All in all, it looked pretty good. We went to the birthday sale and I had a great time to start. People asked for pictures, and I even ran into a few other cosplayers as Pokemon. But then the clouds covered and the sun and earth began to tremble. Jay arrived in a Pikachu onesie. It was dirty, with what I pray was chocolate stains. I'm sure he thought it was cute, but that cheap yellow and striped material seemed to be straining to hold his girth in. And since I last seen him, not only was his hair still greasy, but the patchy beard that he was growing also looked terribly unkempt. However, what really shocked me was Jay was not alone. He was with the nice, mostly ham girl from the first story, and she was not in cosplay. Apparently they started dating, and I use those terms loosely because from what I was told, Jay still flirted, and he tried to get with any pretty thing that he saw, even when he was out with ham girl. Jay apparently bragged about it, saying, "We're a polyamorous relationship, so it's cool." I avoided Jay for the most part, and we went back to having fun. I forgot all about him until maybe a half an hour later. While I was browsing the manga, someone engulfed me with a massive hug from behind. "Vampirion, I choose you," Jay whispered wetly into my ear and snuggled a little closer. At first, I was frozen in shock, but when his hand started feeling my butt, I snapped. I screamed. I screamed like I was being killed in a horror movie. I knocked over a stack of mangas in my flailing. "What the heck are you doing?" my boyfriend shouted from the other side of the room. He came charging at Jay, and Jay released me quick. It was a bit blurry after this. I know I sank to the floor shaking. Jay started saying things like, "Well, she gave me the impression it was cool. She's just a tease. I can tell that she's secretly in love with me. You don't deserve her anyway. I'm a way better man than you could ever dream to be." And also something about anime? I'm not sure what that was about. At this point, my boyfriend is ready to beat the acne off of his face when the owner aware things were getting out of hand, shouts, "I've called the cops!" I've never seen a fat Pikachu run so fast in my life. I was no worse for wear. The owner gave me a $50 gift certificate. Please don't sue me money. And he promised to ban Jay forever. I never saw Jay again. Ham Girl? Well, she officially dumped him after he was banned. She still likes gaming there, and she is now dating a very nice D&D player like herself. Thank you for listening, and I hope to compile more like this in the future. There will be updates as to when the other compilations will be out, and more Neckbeard stories before they come out on Facebook. So I hope that you follow me, so stay tuned. Thank you very much, and have a great day.